It's like no one's gonna beat me. Nobody's gonna throw anything at me that I can't do. That's just how I feel. I belong here. I'm
Yeah.
here right now.
Mhm.
If I didn't belong here, I wouldn't be here. I want to make an NBA team, and then I had to take every step along the way, work out. Okay, didn't do well this one. Next team crushed it with this one. Oh, they want to sign me. Perfect.
Was there a point where you were like, okay, like basketball is like no longer just to play for fun. Now this is kind of like my job, and this is
It's a business, right? Basketball's a business, just like everything in life's a business. Don't want to just trade my time away for a paycheck to just be here. And I'm like, I'm gonna make this happen, and sure enough, it usually happens. So that once one door closes, another opens here. You try and open one there, right?
At this point, like, if I don't enjoy this, why am I doing this?
But at the end of the day, it's about the benefit of you getting it, and it's just about fighting through your own personal battles and being like, hey, like I'm gonna come out on top of this.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Two Fries Podcast, aka the #1 podcast in Winnipeg.
Yes, sir.
Honestly, scratch that. The voice of Winnipeg. We're here to document everything and anyone. I'm excited for this podcast. We've got a very nice guest for us. If you want to take it away, feel
Yeah,
free.
I mean, he's a legend in the city. He's well known for his basketball career and accolades. Please welcome Chad.
My
What's up,
friend,
guys?
my friend.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, man.
I told you this off camera, but again, congratulations on the Sea Bears. We just had David Asper on, who talked about the whole journey of the Sea Bears and how you guys turned it around like so quick. Like the training camp was, I heard, was what, a week, less than
Yeah,
that.
it's a grueling week though. 2 days, man. It was tough.
Like now that you look back on it, the season's over. You guys had a successful first year. What are your thoughts?
It goes by so quick, right?
Yeah.
And you got to think like from last year, October, like right around this time, nothing existed. Like there was no team, no logo, no nothing.
Yeah.
And then fast forward a year, full season, did quite well for a first year franchise, and then coming out with that, and here we are now, looking forward to next year. It's like, wow, like we're here, this is here, we're killing it, right? So it's fun.
What did that feel like? Like, you were born in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And, you've been here your whole life. You've done your whole high school career here, and now you're playing for Winnipeg's professional basketball team. That's kind of even weird for me to say.
It's exciting, man, right?
What was that like? Even the 2-day training camp, like, what was that all like?
It's almost surreal, but at the same point in time, it's like we're Winnipeg, we're a big basketball community. We should have this. We deserve this, right? Not just for the players, but for all the people and everyone in the city. And just by how everyone bought in, you can see that. But yeah, playing at home in your own backyard, Canada Life Center right downtown where the Jets play, it's awesome. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, and of course, like the CELB. I think I'm saying that right.
CBL.
The Canada Basketball League.
Yeah.
That's growing, of course, and having Winnipeg be like a center and like
Yeah.
at least being a part of that.
Yeah.
That probably shook you a little bit because you were the first guy that was signed, correct?
Yeah. First gen team.
How did that work? Like, did they call you up or?
So I'd been chatting with the commissioner of the league, but for a while now, Mike Morielli. He's a great guy. Just on like what they were gonna do, planning on bringing the team out here, when it was gonna happen. So I was in his ear, and then he was like, "Hey, Chad, it's happening." Like, so I knew like it was coming up before like even the coach was selected, right?
Yeah.
So like as soon as they named the coach, my agent reached out.
Yeah.
Talked to them day one, and we're like, hey, like this is where Chad wants to be. We wanna come here. Like we want to be a part of this. And they embraced with open arms, welcomed me in, and they were from there. Here we are now.
What does that process look like? Do you just like tell your agent, hey, like, I want to play for the Sea Bears. Go call them up, hook up that deal, or do you have to like do tryouts or even like like some workouts where the coaches can see you?
I mean, for me at this point in time, I've built up a pretty decent resume, just like coming up playing pro the last 8 or 9 years. So I kind of had, and just playing on different CBL teams, doing really well in Ottawa, Saskatchewan, where we actually won the championship my first year. Had that resume that I was able to just say, hey, like this is where I want to go. Let's make it happen. And he was able to do it for me. So it kind of worked out that way. Fortunately enough for me, I had that option, especially being a local guy. It's like, I want to go play at home in Winnipeg, right? Can't not play there. So it worked out that way for me anyway.
Did you know you guys were going to be playing in like the arena right away? Or because I remember we talked to David Asper and he was saying that like they wanted to do it local, but they didn't. They had to work out a deal with True North. Like,
Yeah.
when did you find out that, okay, like, yes, I'm playing in Winnipeg, but I'm also playing in like
The heart.
the heart of Winnipeg.
Yeah.
I'm playing in the stadium.
Well, so as soon as I knew that, found out that David Asper had purchased the franchise
Yeah.
and was going to be the host and like setting it all up, owner,
Yeah.
I knew kind of right away that it was going to be at Canada Life, because originally I think they were talking to a few other ownership groups and they were going to do it at a U of M until like the Winnipeg Ice Arena was built, but
Yeah.
then we all know how that happened, and they're see you later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found out right away, and it was just like, yeah, wow, this is awesome. And then now you're seeing more and more the other teams in the league switching to NHL arenas.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna have a team in Quebec City next year,
Wow.
playing out of the arena where the Quebec Nordique are supposed to play, but they never came back. So. They got 18,000 people there. I think Edmonton's gonna be playing out of the Rogers Center a bit. Montreal probably plays to Bell. So a few games anyway, kind of just getting it going. So it's a lot of traction building up in these awesome arenas, right? So
Of course.
Even with our Winnipeg team, like there was so many people coming out to these events. I was like checking Instagram stories. Everyone's at the Sea-Bear games.
yeah, no, it was
It's
fun.
like a sense of like FOMO. And what did that feel like as an athlete, you know, playing in front of so many fans?
It was like, I mean, a lot of us, myself included, we've played in front of like a lot more fans
yeah,
than
of
even
course.
that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Division One, when I'm playing in Kentucky, with 25,000 fans there, right? Like it's wild, but it's different when you're playing at home in Canada and your own city at home, and you're seeing all these local fans, people that you know, people that part of the community, and that you're seeing them at the game and just cheering you on and being bought into what's being put out on the court, right? So. Really just really cool to see how the community engagement was there. So it was awesome. Yeah.
Did you expect it? Like, you knew the basketball community in Winnipeg was like,
Well, we have
very,
we're very, not even the community's big. We're very multicultural, right?
right.
And a lot of people, different cultures, ethnicities. Basketball's one of the main sports for that, and soccer, of course, around the world. But having that and them all show up and everybody just being there at the games was awesome, right? See kids, people, fans, get the beer garden in the bottom full, people having a great time. It's like a Bomber game, but you're right downtown, and then you can disperse and go off everywhere. It's easy access for everybody, right? So it's really cool.
Did you ever have a pressure to perform in your hometown? You know, even with playoffs, like you guys did fairly well in your playoff season too. And was there ever a sense of like pressure, like, yo, I'm in my hometown, in my home, like home city, where
I mean,
like my friends are coming to watch? Like,
yeah, I mean, I try not to think about it. Like when I'm out on the court, I'm on the court focused. I'm not really looking around at anyone in the stands, in the audience, anywhere other than few of the crazy guys and my boys that are courtside. They're like right there. You can't even tune them out, and they're yelling. You got everybody's all dripped out on the sides, looking good, vibe, and it's like, okay, the boys are here. Like it's exciting, right? So that's kind of hard to tune out. But like pressure wise, like when you're on the court, you're on the court. You want to win every game. You treat or you at least should treat and approach every game the same way. And that's kind of what I did, whether it's a home, away, here in Winnipeg with friends and family. But then once that final buzzer goes and win the game, lose the game, and you take a look around, you're like, wow, this is cool opportunity that I've been given here.
I wanted to ask, from a player's perspective, what do you think about like the name of the Sea Bears?
Personally, at first,
Like when you first heard the
yeah,
we had our own personal reactions. But
I think everybody's was probably the same, right? It was like, what? but it's honestly, it's grown, right? Like it's grown. It's not just like the Winnipeg Bears. Like it's be like, oh, cool, but it's like the Sea Bears. Like, what the hell's that, right? Like,
there's no water in Winnipeg.
yeah, like, what do you mean? And then everybody's like, oh, it's from the polar bears. They're like, no polar bears near Winnipeg either. But it's really cool how they embrace just the heritage of Manitoba and everything, and incorporate it all into one really cool logo, right?
Yeah.
And the name, it's grown. Like it's synonymous with Winnipeg basketball now. Like everybody knows what it is, and it's not like, oh, why are they naming it? It's like, this is cool. We like it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my initial reaction for sure. Like, what is this?
Yeah, 100%.
But no, and then like obviously the branding, and now I see the color. Now I associate the color
The colors are awesome.
with the brand, and the jerseys are fire too. And so like seeing you guys walk out through the tunnel, or like the confetti going off, and it's like
really cool.
Then it just really kind of puts it together. Like, okay, like it's the Sea Bears now. Like now you wouldn't want it to call it anything else. Like
No,
it would
it's
just
like,
wouldn't
what
make
would it be?
sense.
Yeah.
Like
The Winnipeg, I was gonna say the Winnipeg Jets, but that you
Yeah, it
like,
was
the Winnipeg potholes or like
some other
Winnipeg
sort of
potholes.
the Winnipeg potholes.
potholes.
Like yo, we sink every
The
three.
Winnipeg
Like
construction, yeah.
the Winnipeg construction.
Imagine you sink a three and instead of like going like this, it's like a little shovel.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's getting warm. It's getting warm. I mean, going back to where you guys played, like you're
Kodiaks, what you got on there?
yes,
Hey, I'm a Kodiak too, you know that?
I'm aware. I'm
Yes.
aware. I know.
Sorry.
This is the only scripted part we've done the whole time. Yes, you played in Winnipeg, River East,
Yeah.
River East Collegiate, and I will maybe I'll give you some backstory on why I have this. I'm actually in the Faculty of Education. I'm trying to be a
Okay,
teacher,
awesome,
and
awesome.
I'm student teaching at River East.
No way.
And so when I found out that you were at River East, I was like, what are the odds that the person who I'm having on the podcast,
That's too funny.
student teaching at their school. So I'm
And my mom actually was the principal there for 5 years.
Really?
Just before she retired, and she was at
Okay.
Kelowna East before that
Ah.
for like 20.
yeah,
So
like
big connection there.
big connection. So let's take it back to, you know, I've been in the River East gym, you know. I don't think it's changed much.
Kodiak Den, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Let's take it back to the high school days, you know,
Yeah.
the world of, because you're a hometown hero, right? One of the main reasons why the CBRS is here is you're from Winnipeg, right? It would be weird if you weren't from Winnipeg,
Yeah,
right? You grew up playing.
especially in Winnipeg.
It-
right?
yeah, especially in-
Yeah, people from Winnipeg only understand.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So let's take it back to the River East days, being a Kodiak, and how you started the world of your journey of basketball. I know you get this question a lot, but where's the journey start for you?
Honestly, it probably started in like actually middle school. I started
school.
playing, I think, around 10 or 11.
Mhm.
Grew up East St. Paul. My dad was a convener. He coached a bunch of teams, my team, a bunch there, helped start the program up in
Yeah.
East St. Paul. And then kind of, moved on from that. I actually played hockey growing up till I was like 15, 16, double A, triple A, all of that stuff. So didn't really choose basketball, like focus until I was, Kodiak's, probably grade 10.
Okay.
Doing like the provincial team and stuff before then for the few years. And from there, just Robert Andrews Middle School to River East to university. But yeah, Kodiak's was always special, like fun time. I mean, I don't know what I haven't followed it too much on like where the teams stand nowadays, but back then we were always competitive. We were top 5 or 10 in the province, so it was won some big tournaments. Yeah, it was exciting stuff.
The Kodiaks are still up there. I'm actually coaching their grade 9.
Okay, awesome.
So maybe I got to turn it around. You know, I don't know.
There we go,
We'll
man.
see. But like going back to like that's where would you say the love of basketball sprung, and like
Honestly,
early and middle years, and then
I don't even think so. No, I think probably after my like third year of university basketball or second year is when I kind of like really fell in love with it and started like embracing it and like, hey, this is something that not only am I good at, but I like really love and enjoy doing. And that was probably was about 21.
So then why'd you play?
Yeah, that was gonna be my question. It was like, if you know, in high school, everyone's like trying to fit in, trying to go to parties, be a cool kid. But like, when you dedicate yourself to a team, you're kind of like committed to like a week of practice, and you know, like
Tons.
like
Our coaches, nuts too. Yeah,
and it's like I've been to basketball tryouts for Dakota, and it's not like you're doing suicides, you're doing like sprints, right? And it's like it's hard. So as a high school kid, even if you like didn't really enjoy the process, like why were you playing basketball then?
I mean, our coach was kept us like on point, right? I mean, everybody does a little bit of partying going on in high school, but I was pretty tame with that.
Okay.
But our coach, we was like, Rod Uzat, he was at River East, and then he was at St. Paul's, and I actually moved to Texas.
Okay.
But he like kept us in line. We were going like every day. We had these things called 10-10-10. You have to run like the whole lap around like the school, like upper area, when like school is like a big rectangle.
Yeah.
And then you have to go down the stairs up and down 10 times, and you have to run around the thing again. And then we would start practice.
Like all around school?
Yeah, the whole school. So it would take like 25 minutes to do that, and then you'd be like dead, and then you'd start practice. So it was like we were tired when we were getting out of there. So we were pretty focused. And that kept us busy, right? And that kept me enjoying it. And then by the end of high school, I was ranked I was top 5. I think I was like fifth or fourth or fifth in Canada just for players in high school. And you're getting calls from all these universities and offering you scholarships and money and this and that. And it's like, I'm getting all my, at the point in time, I'm like, well, I might as well just go get my education paid for. And that's kind of just my thought process of where it was at that. No, there's no further look of playing pro or anything really at that point in time.
Yeah.
It was more so just looking at I get a degree and then figure it out from there.
That's cool. I mean, like, you also had an insane high school career, right? Like, what's your career high in high school? We read it was like 69 points in one game.
69
That's
one
insane.
game.
How did that happen?
No threes.
No threes?
No, all twos and free throws. It was good though.
Yeah.
It was a fun game. It was semifinal of a tournament. I remember it, but I don't even think back too much on that. It was just another game for me at that point in time.
It's light work, eh?
Yeah, I think I averaged 37 points a game in high school or something like that. Yeah.
Wow, that's insane. How did you manage that? Like,
My coach was like, give him the ball, go, and I was the first option. And then if that didn't work, then we did something else. So,
how tall were you in high school? Like,
I think I was like, I had a pretty big growth spurt coming up through middle school. Like, end of grade 7, I was 6 feet tall. End of grade 8, 6'4". End of grade 9, 6'7".
Damn.
Then I grew like an inch then each year. So I mean, I was like 6'9", 6'10" in grade 12.
Did that ever like, when those guys like have early growth sprouts, they're somewhat uncoordinated, like
I was weird. I was always just like that on the growth chart. It was never like just a crazy it was just like constant. Like I never had any weird coordination, never had any growing pains, nothing like that actually. So
yeah, I saw a stat and I was like, what? That's a lot of points.
Yeah.
Do you remember much about like that game?
No, nothing.
No.
I just looked at they just announced at the end of the game that or at halftime I think I had like 44 or something like that. I don't even remember. And then they announced at the end of the game a high score for the game down. I was like, what?
Was your
nothing was like I was going for it or knew I was just really I didn't even play last 4 minutes of the game.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So what was your game like that back then? Like were you shooting threes or like posting
up?
I
shot like 5 threes in all high school, yeah. No, just mostly just posting up in the block, dunks. Yeah. I think I had like 11 or 12 dunks one game. So, I mean, you're not playing in like you're playing in Winnipeg basketball.
Yeah.
Which is like there's not a ton of really good big guys.
Right.
Versus like these athletic guys like Toronto or these places in the U.S. Right. So
obviously, high school career you killed it. All right, top 5 in Canada. Where did that lead into university? I think you went to
University of British Columbia.
Yeah, UBC.
I'd had a bunch of I think I had like 20 different offers from universities.
What were they from the States as well?
Some of them from the States.
Okay,
yeah.
so like
my parents didn't want me to go. They wanted me to stay local in Canada, and
yeah.
I felt like I wasn't ready personally either to go do that. Just kind of like fully be out on my own. Right. So did that. Went out there. Ended up going on a visit and just fell in love with Vancouver. Fell in love with the university. Coach Kevin Hansen there was awesome. Made me and my parents both feel really comfortable with that decision. So did that. Played there. First year was okay.
Mm-hmm.
For a rookie, they don't really play rookies too much in university CIS basketball. So did that. And then my second year, I kind of like decided that I wanted to develop more. So I decided to sit out and redshirt. And part of that was maybe I'm going to transfer to a Division I school after that, or just come back the next year and be head and shoulders above all these guys, right? And keep my eligibility. But I ended up transferring out to go play down in the States, and ended up being that by my third year was doing really well when I went to school at Moorhead State in Kentucky, Division I school. And then that transitioned into a really good senior year.
Was that scary? Like coming from Winnipeg, all your family's here, everyone's here. Did you want to move, or was that something that?
I mean, when I was younger, I know you have all these like prep schools and stuff, and they were just starting up when I was there. So but I could have the opportunity to do that, but I didn't want to do that because of the fact that I just wasn't ready to move out and do that yet. Yeah. So a big family guy. Family's really important to me. So I didn't want to do that. So I decided to stay kind of local. We had some friends and family in Vancouver too. So it wasn't home, but it was like they made it feel like comfortable for me.
Mm.
Right.
But then yeah, I guess by the fast forward 2 years, I was kind of ready to make that jump and just full board head on my own when I was 20 years old, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, D1 is it's not a joke. It's like
no,
you
yeah,
live and breathe basketball at that point.
I don't even
So
know how we were doing our school now.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what was that like? I mean, you were playing for one of the most competitive schools, right? And it's
Yeah,
like,
really, like they're not one of the big, huge name schools, but
yeah,
they're one of the most competitive, like mid-major schools. They
right.
make the NCAA tournament pretty much every year. So
Exactly. So like, what was that like? I mean, I'm sure the training schedule was ridiculous.
yeah, we
Like,
had like in the summer, I know you first get there and like you're starting like summer school, you have to take 2 summer classes each summer semester. Like they make you do it so that
Okay.
you're allowed to be on campus training. So you're there in June, 7 a.m. waits till 8:30. Then you get some like food real quick, and then you're like 10 o'clock individual workout with a assistant coach or grad assistant for 45 minutes. Then do your summer school classes, chill for a bit, and then that evening you're like playing full court pickup for like 2 hours,
Yeah.
and that's like every like 5 days a week.
Damn.
So it's a lot, and that's the summer. School year hasn't even started, right? Like that's June, that's July. School there starts middle of August. You come back, and it's like same schedule as the summer for the first month, and then you're right into like official practices starting
Yeah.
September sometime.
Mm. What was the decision to like redshirt? Because you said like that's like you said in university, that's where like your love for basketball really like
Yeah, so
blossomed. So like before, were you just playing just to play?
I was playing because I was like good and
Yeah.
like it was fun, right?
Yeah.
I
yeah,
was doing well, but I didn't wasn't like in love with it. So that's kind of like the red shirt thing was kind of like, hey, like see where this takes me, or maybe I just stay here and do finish, focus on my school, and then maybe don't do that. But then started getting even better, I guess, at that point in time, and was like, you know what, like something I really enjoy and I want to stick with.
Mhm. So for the people who don't know what the process of redshirt means, like what does it mean to redshirt?
It means to sit out for a year, so you're a part of the team,
Mhm.
but you're not
Playing
playing
games.
games. Yeah,
right.
you're just practicing and developing.
Hmm. And then what is the
And then
benefit of
you don't
redshirt?
lose a year of eligibility. So in Canada and schools, you have 5 years of eligibility to play. So you can play for a university team for 5 years.
Okay.
And in the US, you have 4. So if
Mhm.
you're dressed, and even if you're only playing a couple minutes a game, you're still using one of those years up. Versus if you redshirt, it's just whatever the name is, the guy's wearing a red shirt,
Yeah.
maybe way back or something.
Uh-huh.
You don't lose that eligibility. So you can practice all the benefits of the team,
Yeah.
except you don't play the games.
Mm.
And that's playing the games is realistically like 15% of
Mhm.
being on a sports team, right? The rest is all in the background.
So what made you fall in love with the game? Like, if you've been playing all these years and you're just playing,
I don't
simply
know.
like,
I just really started enjoying it. It was something that I was like, you know what? Like I like this. I'm gonna stick with it. It's fun, it's passion. You can't really replicate what you get on a basketball court, or just
Mhm.
the practice and like the camaraderie with your teammates and everything. You can replicate it in like the business world and places somewhat, but there's really nothing like it at like the university level, or even at the pro level, especially, right?
Mhm.
Because you got like what percent of high school guys go on to play university? Maybe 5%, and then of that 5% of that percent of guys that are playing university, maybe got like 5-10% that go on to play pro, right?
Mhm.
So it's once you get to that point in time, it's like the people that are still there, they're the ones that want to be there and
Yeah.
are there because they love it, right?
Mhm.
So that's like we're all there with the same goal. That like that's what I love, right? And that's what I missed when I haven't played it at various times throughout my career when I've been off for a little bit. So
I mean, when you said in like high school, like the drills were hard, but as you got up the levels, it got even more and more. Was there a point where you were like, okay, like basketball is like no longer just to play for fun. Now this is kind of like my job, and this is kind of
yeah, I
like what I
mean
have to do.
but I never look at it
You
as a
know?
job. I just
Okay.
look at it like, hey, I'm playing, having fun. When you're going out there to if I've had contracts that I've turned down because I've just been like, hey, for like a lot of money, overseas ones, I'm just like, I'm not don't want to just trade my time away for a paycheck to just be here. Like the situation's got to be right, the fit's got to be right, the whole everything. If I'm not doing it because I enjoy it and I want to be there, or it's like the right move for me, I'm just like, you know what, his heart's on it. I can't do it. I just turned a contract down actually last week just because situation wasn't right for me, and I was just like, you know what, like, yeah, like I said, a lot of money, but it's like, do I actually want to be here? And this is going to focus on my career, my goals, or am I just doing it for money? And it's if you're ever doing anything just for money,
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, some people, right? They'll take it, but it's if you shouldn't ever do it just. You should do it because you love it.
Yeah.
And you want to do it.
Okay.
So where did that discipline aspect kick in? Because like I mean, as much as I say I love basketball, and I mean I haven't played basketball since high school probably, but like being able to kind of commit to something and like showing up to workouts even when you're sore,
Yeah.
and you've like traveled to like a different state and you're coming back and you got like the first thing you got to do is like man sprints or like
Yeah.
and it's like man like I at this point, like if I don't enjoy this, why am I doing this?
Man,
Right? So like where did that discipline come
everybody asks themselves that question sometimes.
Yeah.
When you're at the end of the thing and the coach is like, two more, and you're like,
from? Two more, yeah.
why am I
Why?
here, man?
Yeah.
What's going on? But at the end of the day, it's about the benefit of you getting it, and it's just about fighting through your own personal battles and being like,
Right.
hey, like I'm gonna come out on top of this. I'm gonna beat this. I'm gonna win at this. And then for me, that's one of the reasons why I love it. It's like I get to challenge myself and do that every day versus no offense to anyone, but it's like you're at a job and you're just like, okay, you got a deadline. And it's like, I'll do it later, this, that, right? Like
Yeah.
you're not like in your face, like it's right there. You can feel it. It's like that's what like that's it's like
Yeah.
right. So that's part of like what you love about it too, right?
Yeah.
How did the intensity increase over the years?
I don't think the intensity, honestly, the most intense practices and everything I've ever, it was university. University is by far the most intense. When you get to the pro level, it's like you're expected to be in a certain shape. You're expected to behave a certain way, take care of your body in a certain way, and if you're not doing it, you're gonna see, the guys, you can tell who's not doing it. They fall through the cracks pretty quick, right? So to be able to have a long career at the pro level, you have to maintain that level, and just it's all about like being even.
Right.
You can't be inconsistent. You got to be consistent with everything you do, and you got to maintain that. It's like even at the pro level, there's a ton of guys that play in the NBA that probably aren't as good as a lot of guys that are playing in European leagues and other leagues, but they do their job consistently on a day-to-day basis, and the coach and everybody knows what they're going to get, and it's easy. Like it's easy choice versus a guy that could be here, but then 2 games he's there, or he's out drinking, partying, doing something, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very fine line between that level, but the consistency is the biggest part of that.
So how do you stay consistent at such a high level? Like I mean, you're gonna have your bad days.
Oh, for sure,
At
for
one point,
sure.
right? So like, how do you continue to work towards it? Like obviously you can
Yeah.
earn everything by just working for it, but like how do you stay consistent?
You gotta hold yourself accountable, right? On and off the court. If you're doing more off the court and you're doing not just more, but more in the right ways,
Right.
then that's gonna help you to be at a higher level and a better level when you're on the court, or even when you're training, right? If you're going out and or not eating right, and you come to train and then your training sessions take a hit, then your practice is it's a domino effect, right? I know
Right.
it's people say it all the time, but you got where you're going and you got where you want to be, right?
Yeah.
And where you're going, does it match where you want to be,
Yeah.
or what? Like, right?
Yeah.
You can't really mess around with one and expect the other.
I read this thing where it was like, when you get to a certain point, obviously the accolades get bigger and the achievements get bigger, but so do the distractions.
Oh,
and
100%.
the things around you. Like it gets harder to say no to things.
Yeah.
Have you ever had the feeling of something like life being distracting or things coming your way?
Honestly, this year a lot of stuff off the court wasn't even just distractions. There's just a lot more, being like a person from Winnipeg playing on the team here, and just like everybody asking like, oh, you do this here.
Yeah.
Come out here after the game. Come out here, right? And you want to try and keep everyone happy and like involved.
Yeah.
But at the same point in time, you gotta know how to say no and when to say no, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to say no a lot more than you say yes, right? Or else that stuff does add up,
Mm-hmm.
which can be detrimental. I know I had probably a couple games where I was a little tired because of practice, and our coach made us practice a lot. But practice, and then you go to an event, or you go out for a little bit, have a team meal, something like that, or have a meal with sponsor, something, right? It adds up, but at the same point in time, it's just got to keep it even. You got to know where your direction is, where you want to go, that goal that you have in mind, and is ask yourself every day, is what I'm doing matching where my goal is, and if it is, here we go, and if it's not, what do I got to do to
Makes
fix
sense.
that? Yeah.
Okay.
Does it ever feel like you're working though? Like, because for example, like, you know, on the court, you're loving the game. This is what you wanted to do
Yeah.
what you want to do. But when there's things like, oh, I gotta go to a dinner with a sponsor.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah.
you know, they
Media
sponsor.
day.
Yeah, like
Yeah, media day. I mean,
media day, or you
it's a
gotta
part
go
of
to
it,
a Two
man.
for Rise podcast. Like, you know,
It's a part of it. Like
Yeah.
this is the fun stuff. This
Yeah.
is the stuff, like what we're doing here. This is the fun stuff. This is the benefit of being an individual that bring something like that we can show, we can talk about, have fun with, right? Like this is I love this stuff, but there's definitely some practices where you ask yourself, you're like, oh man, but like I said, but it's like at the same point in time, it's like it's part of it.
Yeah.
It's all part of one thing, and you can't have one without the other, right?
kind of like the rule of the thirds, where
Yeah.
it's like 1/3 is gonna be great, and the other one's gonna be okay, and then the other one is gonna hate your life.
Yeah.
But at one point, you're gonna continue to grow and grow and grow, right? So, where was that? Like, did you ever have moments in your career where you were like, "Man, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore." Like,
Well, I didn't have like that I didn't want to. I think I always wanted to, but I'd actually had a couple injuries. I had a hip surgery. I had to get out a torn labrum, so I was out had that in 2017. I injured it,
Yeah.
and then had the surgery early 2018. Had to get it redone August 2018. So it was like going through that, and then I have to get another one because it didn't heal right. And I'm like, am I gonna be able to do this? Do I even want to like fight through this next year and a half again of like recovery and this and that? So I was actually trying out some different jobs, real estate, this, that. I have a few degrees from university. I was like, seeing where can I apply these in
Yeah.
real life, not just basketball life.
Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, what do I want to do? And I was like, this is gonna suck, but this is what I want to do. This is who I am still. This is who I want to be. I want to be a basketball player. I want to continue to play at the pro level.
Yeah.
So what do I got to do? I got to do this to get here, right? And that's kind of just domino effect again,
Yeah.
one thing at a time. And yeah.
Did those injuries ever like kind of hold you back? Because I know, like, for example, last 2 seasons I played soccer.
Yeah.
So I got injured with my knee, and it took me a while, about like 4 months to recover, fully recover. And now when I go back on the field, and I'm in that same, like, there's a very particular way of how that injury happened.
Yeah.
And there's a vivid memory of right instantly when it clicks, and it's like, I'm going into a tackle, just like kind of, you don't go full, like you don't go 100%.
Mental, right? A lot
Right.
of injuries. Yeah.
So did that ever like kind of
I don't know. I'm pretty. I don't want to say I'm different, but like that's the built. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm built different, right? Yeah, sure. We'll leave it at that. But I'm just full in. When I'm
Yeah.
full in, I'm full in. Like I know a lot of guys have injuries, guys, girls, everyone. And that mental aspect is a lot more than even the physical portion of the injury. Like you're
Right.
healed, but
Yeah.
even that hesitancy or that just like that
Yeah.
little thought in your head, it's not even, I don't even know the emotion for it, but it's just like it's there.
Yeah.
It's like it can make you actually more likely to re-injure it, or
Re-injure, yeah.
more likely to just not perform at the level you should be than if you had, say, a broken ankle versus you healed your ankle and now it's still there. But yeah, no, when I'm in it, I'm full bore. I probably started playing even earlier than I should have with this, but yeah, I was just ready to go. I was like, I want to play. This is where I'm at. I'm like, you better be along for the ride. Yeah.
Where does
So-
that mental toughness come from? Like, is it like some like your motivators, or like at a younger age? Like, how do you like? Many people would be hesitant, like like Archie said, and myself included. Like, if you don't want to go through that, year-long process again, but you're ready. You're built different. Like, where does that mindset come from?
For me anyway, like I'm just like no one's gonna beat me. Nobody's gonna throw anything at me that I can't do. That's just how I feel about basketball. A lot of things, right? If it's like you can't tell me that I'm gonna do it, or it's like you not doing this, I'm like, okay, watch me. Watch me. Watch what I do. And that's how everything in life. I think of it, and it's weird. It's like I put something in my mind, and like it ends up happening, right? Like, and I don't know, it's eerie for me, just not even in basketball, but with other things too. And I'm like, I'm gonna make this happen, and sure enough, it usually happens. So,
did you ever have someone like doubt you? Be like, yo, maybe as kids, everyone says, yeah, I want to be in the NBA.
yeah,
But like when certain kids, they get like, yeah, sure, you want it. Did you ever have that, or?
I really don't care what anyone thinks.
Yeah.
That's in anything. If you have an opinion about me, congrats, that's your opinion. Really doesn't bother me, right? Unless you're up in my face trying to fight me or something, or like actually like in my face, like fuck me, man, right? Say what you want to say. It doesn't matter to me. Really, really do not care. Your opinions mean nothing. Not in a negative way, but in terms of just like people like saying things or outside influences here, and here. Is what it is, right? I obviously take constructive criticism and like this and that from coaches and people that are close to me, and I take that into consideration and weigh that in on what I'm doing. But for all the hecklers and the naysayers out there, it's just like, man, keep it coming. It's you're wasting your breath.
I mean, yeah, you played in like what the tournaments down in the States, like. The hecklers are there.
Oh man, they're there. I mean, it was like, crazy. In university, we played in Maryland one time against University of Maryland, and they literally had papers printed out with like our guys' faces on it, and like just stupid stuff on them. And they're like shaking the papers when you're doing free throws, yelling stuff. I'm just like, you guys are wild, man. Like, it's not gonna do anything, but it's hilarious.
Like you missed a free throw.
Yeah.
Is that
overrated?
Yeah, stuff like that.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
No, man. I don't know. It's free throws are tough. I've shot 1 for 10 in a game, and I've shot 10 for 10 in a game. Is like legitimately shot 1 for 10 in a game before. I don't know. Free throws are tough. They're different. But I would like to say that stuff doesn't have an effect, but maybe it does. I don't know.
Is there any like story that stands out, like a particular fan or a particular, like you said, the Maryland crowd, but like
I was playing in Japan, so I played in Japan for a couple of years. They have a solid league out there. All ex-NBA guys that have had some sort of experience. You get like 3 imports per team, and then in the crowd there's this one English speaking guy, and I'm at the free throw line, and he's not even my birthday, and he starts singing like happy birthday to me, like, hey, it's his birthday. The entire audience starts singing happy birthday. I'm shooting a free throw. I literally had to grab the ball. It's like, what? I was like, this is ridiculous.
Did you get the free throw?
I don't remember. I want to say hopefully.
Yeah.
Probably went 1 for 2.
Yeah.
I mean, let's get into that. I mean, you've not only played university, you've played professional basketball overseas, and like what was that like?
Yeah, I've played
And
NBA Summer League,
NBA Summer League too,
couple NBA training camps.
Right.
Japan, I played in China, I played in Argentina,
Around the globe.
Uruguay, Mexico.
That's insane. Yeah.
Nowhere in Europe, actually. That's the only like everybody always talks about overseas.
European
Europe. But I've played in all the like the Asian, South American countries, a lot of them.
So the transition from like the States, like university to professional, what was that transition?
Like it's the guys that you play against are all really good guys. Like I was saying before, maybe 5% of the guys that actually play Division 1 or less than that for Canadian universities will go on to play pro. So when you're there, you got to be ready, and like it's that consistency thing I was saying earlier. It's like all these guys are a lot more consistent and on a lot, not a higher level, but they're consistently at that higher level. So you got to be ready for that. You got to be focused on that, and you got to be one of those guys. And if you're not, like I said, fall through the cracks, you're done, right?
Was there ever a moment you realized you were that guy? Like, I'm him. Like, like I can stay consistent at like 40 points per game or something like that. Like.
So what I do is I rebound really well. That's like one of my specialties. I'm one of the NCAA Division 1 all-time rebounding leaders, I think. I finished second my year in my I guess I don't say grade 12. My fifth year university there, senior year, in the nation out of everyone Division One. So that's like what I do when I bring to at like a high level to any team I've played on, and whether it's university, different pro levels, even in the NBA, I'd still say I'd be one of the best rebounders there.
Yeah.
But then obviously you got to couple that with a lot of other skills and this and that. But that's what I do consistently, and I bring that level all the time, and I'm able to do that. And so if I can do that at any level, which I know I can, I'm able to just continually help my team wherever I am be better.
So then going from your fifth year being like the rebounding, and then that probably caught a lot of eyes of like scouts and NBA teams. So when do they contact you like before the season ends? How does that process work?
So like right when you're done, as soon as you finish your last game of university, you can sign with an agency. So I had a number of agencies reach out to me, contact me, take me for lunches, dinner, all this stuff. Just wanting to represent me. So that exactly. So they did that and ended up selecting one. And then they start NBA teams reach out to them. They reach out to different teams, and try and get you workouts. I think I did 5 or 6 workouts with different teams. And then you try and get selected to like play summer league training camp, get one of those deals, and then eventually make the roster, right? So did that, and from there just didn't work out in the NBA that year. So like had the option to go play in the development league after summer league and training camp. But the development league at the time wasn't what it is now. It's not like the the G League. It's not like the AHL is for hockey where we're getting paid a lot. It is now. You do make quite a bit now, but before it was pretty low. So I decided to not do that and go sign a contract somewhere else.
Wow. So it was like it's like a full out movie where like, I've seen like a couple of basketball movies and it's like, they take you out to lunch.
No, it's like they do all that. Yeah.
So what did that feel like? How old were you back then? And like
23.
Yeah, so like
23,
like, almost our age. Yeah. And like doing that, getting those insane experiences as a professional athlete. Like, what did that feel like?
Honestly, at the time, I wasn't even thinking too much, and even now, I don't think it's just what I've been doing, right? It's like this is what I'm here for. This is what I'm doing. This is the next step in my journey. For where I want to get, where I want to go.
Right.
Obviously, that journey changes at all times. You never know, surgery, whatever, family, something happens, yada yada. But yeah, it was the next step, and I didn't take it for anything more than that.
Right.
Did you know, like, obviously, once coming, like now you're having like meetings, you're having lunches with agencies, like you obviously have a hope of where this may lead.
Yeah.
And what were your hopes at that time? Was your hopes to go to the NBA?
That was the goal in mind then, right?
Yeah.
And I want to make an NBA team, and then I had to take every step along the way, work out. Okay, didn't do well this one. Next team crushed it with this one. Oh, they want to sign me. Perfect. Sign me for the summer league. Sign me here, right? So it's literally just keep it going, and then once one door closes, another opens here. Or you try and open one there, right?
The reason I ask is because I experience this a lot, especially like in terms of the podcast world, but like the roller coaster of emotions.
Oh, it's
like going from, oh my God, we're killing it, to like the next day being like, oh,
you gotta stay even keel. You can't as with most things in life, you go to somebody does a job interview somewhere, they're like, I killed it, I'm gonna get this. Next thing they get the call the next day.
And it hurts.
Sorry, you didn't. We're gonna go with so and so. Good luck in your future endeavors. Click, right? Like you gotta be able to stay even keel. You gotta be able to keep your emotions out of things. It's a business, right? Basketball's a business, just like everything in life's a business.
Were you able to do that back then?
Yeah, I've fortunately been like you obviously you get high, like you get highs and lows, right? You got to work out and you do really well, and it's like, man, I felt really good. But for the most part, you got to be even, and I've been pretty good at oh, this didn't happen, okay, it didn't work out this way. Yeah, that sucks. Okay, what's the next thing I can do? What's the next door that's going to be open?
I mean, obviously, like, you played summer league for the Chicago Bulls, right? First of all, Chicago Bulls is insane. Like that's every kid's dream, I guess. Like, like Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all
We
time.
were at
Like,
we were actually, my year was the last year they used the practice facility that he was playing in before they built their new one right
yeah,
downtown by the United Center. So that was pretty cool.
yeah,
So when you walk in that arena, what are you feeling? Like,
yeah. Because like,
what are the thoughts? Like, how does this small
Just
kid
excited. How can I make this team? What do I got to do to impress these guys? What can I do?
But you're also competing with everyone else who works at the workout?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
so they'll bring like 5 or 6 guys in for a
Okay.
workout, and then you'll just compete against each other, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 1-on. If they have some of their local NBA guys there, anybody that's currently in the city playing, they'll come through maybe.
And does it get competitive?
Oh yeah, man, you're
Yeah.
fighting for a job, right?
Yeah.
You got to be. If anything, it's more competitive than
So-
your training.
So then, does it ever get to a point where it's like I guess not morally correct, or like in terms, okay, I understand that you're going against on a basketball court, but then does it ever get past the basketball? Like you take it off the court in terms of like, because you said it, you're fighting for a job,
Yeah.
which is a weird,
You
like,
gotta have your composure, and you gotta be personable. You gotta be a good person. Teams don't just select guys for what they do on the court, right? It's what's off the court. It's everything.
yeah.
Like I remember like getting aunts and uncle. My high school coach got a call from who was it? Not Tom Thibodeau, or I think it was one of his assistants at the time from the Bulls. Said, hey, what's Chad like? What's he like doing off the court? This, that, right? Like they're
so like reference checks.
yeah, they're investing a lot of money in you, right?
Right.
By bringing you in there and you being there, like millions of hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, right?
Yeah.
Like they want to make sure you're not an idiot.
Yeah.
Or you're not somebody who's not going to have good composure, not going to be composed, not going to be able to handle media, not going to be Gilbert Arenas bringing guns in the locker room, right? Like there's stuff like that. Like they try and avoid that as much as possible. Obviously things slip through the cracks and like stuff, as in any situation. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
And even them, they don't do they might not do their checking perfect on a guy, but you try and avoid that. You try and make those things just as you would in any business, the mishaps as small as you can, and everything else on the upside is, okay, you have this. Okay, what does this leave us? Okay, this is taking him. This is not taking him. Where's the balance? What's good for us?
Yeah, the world. Like you said, it. Basketball is a business, and like I think I don't know who the basketball player, Dwight Howard, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the one who talked a lot about like the business world of basketball really shook him.
Oh, for sure.
When was the point that you realized, okay, this is not just me playing on the court. This is me being a business, like an investment. Like they want a return on their investment.
Well, in university, right? Like they're bringing you in, they're offering you X amount of money for a scholarship, money off the court, like that kind of stuff, right? And why are they offering it? Because you can make the program better, and more wins for the program equals more money for the program, right? So they want to field the best team, not just for a winning basketball record, but for a winning program, and a program that's going to bring in net profit that's higher than it would be the year before. Or like you're always trying to do your best.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on like sports are supposed to be fun, right?
Yeah.
There's always like a competitive side to it.
I mean, they're supposed to be fun, but if you're only playing for the fun, and you're playing, there's senior men's, there's like, I mean, even that in Winnipeg is crazy competitive. But, but if you're only playing for fun, you're going to be doing your job and something you love for and you'll go play basketball or curling or whatever on the side, right? It's supposed to be fun, but at the end of the day, it is a business, and they are making money off of the product that you put on the court and the way you conduct yourself. So like if Stephen Curry went in an interview with Golden State Warriors after a game and just started saying crazy stuff, right? Like knocking this, knocking that, just racial slur, whatever, right? Anti-Semitic, like you get killed, right? You'll get killed. Like your business will be done. Like you're gonna face some criticism, and a lot of it. Your stock's gonna go down, like. So what you have on the court as the product, the players, you have to match that with what you want to be doing and where you want to be going.
So how much does that influence like the overall aspect of basketball though? Like you could be like a killer basketball player, but if you can't be a businessman, quote unquote, at the end of the day, right? Like Where does that leave you?
There's a level to it, right? There's a level to it of what you bring to the table,
Right.
and what you're doing there. And if what you're bringing to the table is just crazy high,
Yeah.
teams and coaches and organizations will look away a little bit on maybe some of the other, maybe you smoke weed a couple times, or and you got caught with that in a thing, and you have to do fine, whatever NBA program. I think they allow you to smoke now, but I'm just saying that, for example, like maybe they'll put up with a bit more of that if what you're offering here, but for the most part at the pro level, everybody's pretty close, right? So you can't be doing that because they're just going to be like, next guy.
Seems like it comes down to like leverage.
Yeah.
Like if you like, for example, if we took the Stephen Curry example, right? Like he could probably potentially get away with a lot
With
more
something, yeah, exactly.
compared to, you know, some guy that's just coming in for the training and then doing
100%. But at the same point in time, it's like, this is Steph Curry. This is the image he's made for himself. This is the pedigree he holds himself to.
Yeah.
And that's is what we expect from you getting this from a top level guy. We need this from the bottom level guys, right? And that's why they've won as many championships as they won, just because of the culture.
Have you seen it being like, now you're putting on a little show, kind of? Like, do you still try to stay like authentic?
I mean, for me, I think
of course, but
pretty even keel, just keep it flowing nice.
Even
what you see is what you get, sort of thing.
Even the guys that we see in the NBA, like the people we look up to, are they as authentic as they seem? Is there?
I think some of them put on a persona for interviews and this and that. Most guys, and it's like even like KD, whatever, he had that Twitter whole thing a few years ago. It's just like everyone's people. They're all just people, right?
Yeah.
They're all the same as you, me, their own individual problems, everything. But you have to hold yourself to a higher standard in the public image, in the public eye, sorry. When you are on the radar like that, when all the cameras, all the eyes are on you, right? So you gotta be careful of that. But at the same point in time, if people can see through that, if you're being weird, you're being crazy, et cetera, et cetera. But for the most part, guys want to be even keel. What you see is what you get is the best way, in my opinion, to kind of approach things.
Did that ever defer you from the whole game of like the business side of things? Like, you know, I mean, you're there to play basketball, right? And like
have fun, play,
and like, you know, everyone has a dream of like making it, but like, I feel like a lot of people got discouraged to be like, yo, I'm not a businessman at the end of the day, right? And so it's like,
it all comes with the job. Like if you want to be a part of it and do it, you don't have to be. You can reflect on, hey, what do I have here? What do I have here? Do I want to be a part of this, or do I want to take it a different direction? And if you can't do what the teams are requiring, then you're gonna slip away. Yeah.
Wow.
Let's talk about before we get into the Japan and the for like I wanna know. You also did like with the OKC.
Yeah.
And like, did you get to work with and work out with the guys that are on the team?
Yeah.
Like
Carmelo Anthony was there when I was there. Russell Westbrook.
And so were those
Paul
guys
George.
your idols before, or like who was it?
Not really.
Strange
No,
seeing those guys?
Not really for me. It was just this is my next step in the journey. This is where I'm at. Like I belong here. I'm here right now. If I didn't belong here, I wouldn't be here. My idol growing up would be Kobe for basketball wise. Kobe and Shaq. Just that Lakers, that duo was really cool. But when I was there playing with these guys, they're just, to me, they're another guy. They're another guy I'm playing against. They're another guy I'm playing with. Doesn't matter if they're a bench player, future Hall of Famer, which a few of them are. It's just like, it is what it is. We're here.
Wow. Did they have like a different competitive edge to them, or like even like something like, you know, like you can tell when a player is like meant to do this, like you know, like did they have that like?
Well, you can see it, like even some of the players that we've played against in our league, right? You can just see the competitiveness and how they're just like at that high level consistently, right? Like you see a guy like Russ, and he's just like 8 out of 10 the whole time, whereas other guys will be going 6 to 9 to 7, right? Like he's just like going that speed, that fluidity the entire time. And you can tell because you can see it, and you're like, wow, this guy's holding up this pace for the entire practice, the entire 40 minutes, the entire 48, right?
Yeah. Do you think you could work your way up to that consistent, or is it something that, you know, like, for example, let's take for like Hussein Bolt. That's the first one that comes to mind. Like that's just like a natural gift, I feel like. But he also works his ass off,
100%. It's
right?
it's
So it's like,
part of it.
where is that talent and work ethic? Like, do you think like talent works? You know that quote, like,
Yeah.
if talent doesn't work hard, then they're not the best or whatever the version.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So where do you think that level is?
It's different for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Like for me, I always rebounded, did that part of my game at the high level, but I focus on remembering plays all the time, being in the
Yeah.
right spot, making shots, right? Like it's up and down, it's tough, right? So um yeah, it's I don't know, it's tough. It's part of the game. It's why you love it. It's what you strive to do. It's what you strive to be the best of, and it's what you focus on working at every day is bringing yourself to that higher level, 1% better every day, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, if everyone could do it, everyone would be doing it,
Everyone
but
would do
you
it.
can't, right? It's tough. It's hard, and everybody's trying to get to the same goal to be as good as they can.
Yeah.
That's so interesting seeing like the other side of the basketball world, because a lot of times, I watch the NBA,
You just
let's
go
play
sit down and watch a game. That's it.
like you just see the players perform. Like you have your idols like LeBron James, and just like these guys are killing, but there's a completely different side, which
Yeah, like LeBron, if he was as talented as he is, but like he's 37 and he's still playing at the level he was playing at when he was 20. Why do you think that is? Well, it's not because he's just LeBron James, a crazy gifted freak athlete. There's thousands of people like that around the world
Yeah.
that are like crazy, like body built, muscle, like. But he spends, I think, like 1.5, 2 million a year on his health, his recovery, his body, like PRP injections, personal stretching guy, massages, this and that. If he's not walking right and his gait's wrong, there's somebody who will come in, like massages, like loosen him up in the right way so he's like walking properly, right? Like it's because of what he does and how he takes care of himself that has allowed him to stay at that, maintain that high level for this long.
I want to talk about like in terms of like, how do I phrase this? The analytics you could see, not only stats, but not only like shots, rebounds, like assists, but all the other types of stats that go along with it. Is there like a guy that just like tracks or like trainers and people?
So they have a program called Synergy, and like every basketball game at the university and pro level is like uploaded onto Synergy. Like the leagues around the world all pay this company, and then they break down the film. Like you shot a hook shot to the left, and you in the games when you go to the left you're shooting 30%, but if you go to the right you're shooting 60%, or your pull-up threes from 3 feet behind the line are 28%, but right at the line you're shooting 36%. Like they break it down all like that. So
and then how do you use that information? Like
you use that information for lineups and matchups. Okay, well, say, well, I'm on the court with this lineup, we are +5 in the plus minus, but if I'm on the court with this other lineup, we're -12. It's like, okay, it's a balancing thing. And it's like we have a stats guy on our team that that's his job. His only job is to do all the stats and track it and make sure the lineups and everything are right, and what's working, what's not working, when in the game are we most effective, when are we not, for first, second, third quarter.
Wow.
So it's a whole thing. Yeah, we could talk about that for hours. Yeah.
Do they ever influence the decisions on the court though? Like, I mean, I'm sure for lineups and all that stuff, they probably do. But at one point, it's like, yo, we're like 95% like destined to get, like, if a Curry shoots a three, he's
it's like the Kobe. There's also part of it's like called, like, I think it's like the Kobe effect or something like that. It's like
he broke down everything.
Yeah, and he's breaking it down, but at the same point in time, it's like, say maybe Kobe is only 25% for middle range jumpers from that area, but it's like at the end of the game with the ball in his hands, are you going to give it to the guy that's 78%, 75% in mid range jumpers from there? Or do you give it to Kobe when the game's on line and you're breaking it down, right? It's like his number then goes up in those situations as well. So you have a whole stat category for that too. So
do they give you like a binder? Like do you study do you study this? Like
we have like
I just don't know. I'm just curious.
Most teams I've played at the pro level, especially university too, you have like half an hour, 45 minutes of like a film session every day before practice. Yeah.
Yeah,
and we go over like different things. Okay, here's the stats from the last week, the last 2 games, and then here's cumulative stats from the season. This is where we were before. This is where we are now. This is where we want to be. This is where we need to be in order to be successful.
Does the coach ever like pull you into the office and be like, So your numbers are not
Yeah.
this quarter, right? Like your numbers are not loading up. So
Yeah, I've definitely had a few of those talks. Yeah, as everybody. Yeah.
I would love to sit and just see some guy with a PowerPoint and just be like, okay, this corner.
You suck here, here. You did okay there. You did okay there. You did okay. What do you mean I did okay? I'm top of the league, and it's like you did okay. And they're like,
I'm top 5 in Canada.
even keel, man. Even keel, because they can't gas you up too much. Oh, you're the best. Then you,
Yeah, of course.
a lot of guys like get to their head, right? They're like, oh no, I don't need to do this. No, you suck. Get better. We'll keep working on what you're doing. When we win a championship, I'll congratulate you. Yeah.
And they're tracking everything too, like food. Like I noticed you have the.
I'm type 1 diabetic, yeah.
Yeah. So you're type 1. And so are they tracking that as well? Or is that just.
No, I do that. That's my health thing. Yeah, that's myself. Yeah.
And so are they, in terms of like tracking food, like you have a nutritionist? Like.
We do. So we had nutritionists couple. I'm actually, funny enough, I'm vegetarian. I've been vegetarian for like 6 years. Yeah, plant-based.
Yeah.
The only stuff I eat is like if it's like baked like goods or something like butter or whatever is in there like that. Like I'll have. It doesn't matter. But like I did that when I got my hip surgery as a way to recover faster, feel better, and I mean I'm now 32 now and I'm feeling as good as I have even 10 years ago. So hopefully I think it's doing something.
Do you ever get criticism for that? Like being
I get chirped by my teammates and stuff. How are you this big ass vegetarian, man? Like, because I weigh like 275, 280, so I'm not like a small guy.
Yeah.
How do you maintain that? But I'm just like, man, extra protein shake in the morning, extra one at night, you're good to go.
Yeah.
So
talk about I don't know how open you are about type 1 diabetes and having that, like, as a pro athlete, like.
I mean, I was diagnosed when I was 7, and again, it's just, for me anyway, it's just not one of those things I ever let hold me back. It's just domino effect. Okay, this is what I got to deal with. What's the next step?
Yeah.
I'm dealing with this now. I mean, obviously when you're younger, it falls a lot on your parents, but as you get older, it's just like it's a part of my life, right? And it's not something that I can change or feel sorry about or cry about. It's like, I got to deal with this. I got to do it. What do I got to do with my diabetes? Just like, what do I got to do with my basketball, with my training in order to be at the level I want to be at? Do I allow it to bother me or affect me? No, you can't. Sure, there's going to be days just like you feel bad or it's like, I don't want to go to work. It's like, oh, my levels are off here and there. Okay, how do I correct it?
Does that affect like a team's decision on you, would you say?
It hasn't with me yet. There was a couple 1 or 2 pro teams that I had to sign some just like addendums in the contract too. Just like if something's like been if this affects your play or you miss a game or something like this in a certain way, it's like we're not liable to certain things, right? But never really affected me because personally I have it under pretty good control. So but yeah, there's definitely days that I'm like, oh, I don't feel as good as I should because of that. So
on days where like there's obviously you can have physical health issues, but there's also like definitely mental health issues
too,
for sure. Right? So and there's days where some days you're just not feeling it, and so how do you balance with how does mental health play into that sport aspect?
Yeah, you gotta
constant pressure of like being here, like you gotta be here.
Yeah.
So obviously that takes a wear on your mental health.
Like we have sports psychologists. I play with Team Canada. They have a sports psychologist that traveled with us everywhere we went, all the trips, like available for you to talk to. They'll do a session or 2 every trip with you anyway, just like sit down, kind of pick your brain. Maybe they can see something or find something, or you can talk to them about something. So it's been huge, especially in recent years. It's a lot more prevalent that we're talking about mental health issues and everything. But yeah, it definitely plays an effect too. It's I don't want to be here. Oh man, am I good enough to be here? Why am I here? Like I shouldn't be. Like you doubt yourself at times, right? Or like you just think the stuff's not going right, and it's like, why is it not going right? I'm doing everything right. Like what's happening here? And it's just trying to keep yourself in that plane where you have that vision, that goal in mind, and one step at a time. I know I've probably said it 5 times now, but it's like, what do you got to do here to get to here, to get to here, to get to here? Okay, I'm not feeling this way in my mind. I got to break it down. Why am I not feeling? Okay, it was because of this, because of this. Okay, and then you just analytics, fan, analyze it.
Do you like this may be a deeper question, but do you get time to reflect on how you play, not play, but like how you feel? Because you mentioned like this didn't work out. Okay, I'm just gonna do this, and then go.
Yeah.
Do you ever
You
sit back and like?
it's just like a game, yeah.
Yeah.
You got to take a look back at what I did in the game. What did I do mentally? Okay, I was feeling this way, but at the same point in time, it's short term. It's like
Yeah.
you got a game 3 days from now,
Okay.
right? I mean, if you lose that last game at the end of your season, then you're out of the playoffs. So you might have a little more time to reflect and kind of look back and maybe change some things on a more bigger prevalent level for wherever you're headed next in your journey. But if it's a game during the season, it's like it's got to be quick. You can't. Oh, I had a bad game. I did. It's even during the game, right? It's like 2 bad shots. Oh, why didn't they go in? You can't.
Yeah.
It's next shot mentality is what we call it, right? It's like next shot mentality of I would need to do this and I'm gonna score this. The previous shots have nothing to do with it. I know based upon the training and what I've done that I can make those shots.
So where does that like motivation factor play in? Like how do you stay motivated all the time? Like I mean it's hard to, right? It's like if you're always worried about the next thing, it's like you kind of like maybe I don't want to do the next thing, or I'm not motivated to do the next thing, right?
You got to live in the moment too,
Yeah,
right? It's like, as I say, the next thing, focus, but it's like you're focused on one thing at a time, which leads into the next thing, right? It's like, okay, I'm here right now. We're doing this podcast. I'm focused on this.
Yeah.
I got a dinner to go to later. Like, it's gonna be a great dinner, but this is my job. This is what I'm here to do. I want to have the best podcast, the best chat that I can with you guys. This is what I'm focused on.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about the dinner or if maybe this runs long, I'm going to be late. If it does, so be it.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that. This is what my job is. This is what I'm focused on. Deal with that next thing as we end here and we move on, right? It's not same thing in basketball.
Transitioning into going into like you played all around the world.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that what was some crazy places, Japan, China, Uruguay, like what is something you've learned from those leagues and the separate leagues and the process of going there?
Yeah, it's different everywhere, right? Like Japan, the fans are like quiet. They're like clapping like this. It's more of a show for them when they're there watching it, snapping, doing that kind of stuff. But they're excited, right? And it's just different cultures, man. I love the different cultures that I've seen and played in. Like Argentina, where I played, it's like we had a rivalry game and we beat the team in the gym. They're like swinging out stuff on the court. They're throwing stuff in there. Like there's 1:20 left in the game, and my head coaches were up like 15. They put like all the bench players on, the younger guys, and he's like, starts sending us to the locker room, and then just people are throwing stuff. The police come out with riot shields, and they make a riot shield tunnel for us to run across the court to get into the locker room because we just beat a rivalry game. They had beat them in like 6 or 7 years in that place, and we had to stay in the locker room for like 2 hours after the game before we could leave because just the passion and the fans they have there, it's just wild, right?
Yeah.
They just like want to go nuts, cause chaos because they're just that much in love with stuff, right? So yeah, just the cultures and the way people see and treat things differently around the world is just phenomenal. It's cool.
How do you make your decision on which leagues you want to play and which leagues you don't?
Fit, right? It's a combination of salary you'll be getting per month, plus the living situation, plus size of the city, right? You don't want to be in a small town where you're not doing anything or have any opportunities to go out or live like some sort of like, I guess you say Americanized lifestyle, right? Like a lot of countries have stuff that's home, like feels like home in bigger cities, but a lot of the smaller cities might not have anything, right? So it's all a factor of that, plus the coach, plus the players that are already there. How much playing time are you going to get? All of that stuff kind of plays into the ensemble of like, is this a good fit for me? And your agent can direct you and pull the opportunities that you direct him to, like say, hey, this is kind of what I'm looking for. And then from there, it's up to you to break it down, right? I've been fortunate enough that I've had no lack of opportunities presented my way, but for a lot of guys too, especially younger guys, right, that are first getting into pro, it's like you might get an opportunity and you say first one you get and you haven't had one in 3 months, you're like, I got to take this. And then you got to make what you get with that opportunity able to put you into more opportunities, right? You screw that one up, right? You might never get a job again. So it all depends on your situation, where you are, and kind of where you are in your career and what you have available for you, plus the fit and the feel.
So what made you like kind of want to go with an agency instead of being an independent? Because I know a lot of like athletes, they can kind of be independent, and you know, some of them make it, some of them don't.
I mean, at the pro level, you gotta have an agent just for
Yeah.
protection, just for communication between the teams. It's a lot better when you have. It's like a lawyer, man. It's like,
Yeah.
would you defend yourself in court without a lawyer?
Yeah.
Probably not. You
Yeah.
can,
Right.
but
Yeah.
The tools.
exactly, you can, but you're not going to be in good shape if you do most 95% of the time, right?
Right.
It's not advised. It's just like it's not advised to work with teams through yourself, right? Some of the like local guys here in Canada, you can, because they know each other, they've grown up with each other, and like if you're staying local only playing in like the Canadian league, sure. But if you're going any other league around the world, you need an agency to represent you, or an agent.
Wow. Do connections play a role in that too?
Oh,
Like,
100%,
yeah.
right? Like I've played around the Canadian League now, and
Yeah.
like connections, that's kind of what we talked about earlier,
Right.
allowed me to get in with Winnipeg from the jump. And there's guys that have played, say, in Spain for 7 years, and they
Yeah.
know the people, this, that, there. It's a lot easier for them, and connections definitely, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely like how good you are and what you bring to the table, but it's also who you know, right? It's a bit of both.
That's so strange for me. Like,
But it is less though in the basketball world, because it's like, say, a job as a manager, an upper level manager somewhere. It's like that's going to be maybe more connections than what you bring to the table, because it's so even what you bring to the table. But in sports wise, it's like, this is a specific guy that we need for this specific role. Like, we need him. There's really not a lot of, say, 6'11" people that are playing at a certain level, so it's like, we need this guy.
and they're filling their rosters and like
Yeah.
trying to figure out the best
Yeah,
asset for
Just-
to win.
just like a business is filling out their things, but I feel like there's just a little more leeway with certain things like that. But there are obviously some businesses as well that's like, this person has done this for this company. It's like, we need them, we want them, right? And they'll go out of their way to signing bonus, this, that. Same thing as basketball.
So if you're gonna stay at this like very high level, I'm curious to see what you do on a daily basis to stay at that level. Like, what's your daily routine look like when you're on season?
Oh man, on season is tough. It all depends on the schedule, man. Like our routine changes and daily stuff changes so much. You have a game Thursday, a game Saturday, Tuesday. Like, you're all over the place with things. But yeah, just you wake up, say normal practice day, wake up, get to practice.
Like first thing in the morning, or
Or yeah, usually most teams usually practice 9, 10 in the morning. Start off, practice, get it going, warm up everything, go do film, come out of film, go do like walkthrough and practice. Maybe you'll have weights in the morning, usually probably before all of that starts, maybe around 8. So you do weights for an hour and a bit, and then you get into that, and then 3 plus hours of like practice film. Plus you get some extra shots or work on your game, what you need at the end after practice. And then you kind of can go from there. Like, do I need even more, or am I done for the day, right? Am I just gonna chill out, get ready for tomorrow, take care of my body, rest, relax, stretch, eat properly. And then game day is all different too, right? It's all over the place.
And these practices, are you like how it comes back to like the Kobe quote that I've always seen, like, if you wake up at this time and you get more practices in throughout the day, you're going to be 2 times better or 10 times at the end of the day.
It all depends on the person, right? Like, that's what worked for him. That might not be what worked for somebody else, right? It's individualized.
Okay.
So you can't really, that is getting more time and this and that. And he's obviously didn't, he was like, do I want to sacrifice time with my family, or do I want to sacrifice time for basketball? And he said, I don't want to sacrifice either. So what did he sacrifice? He sacrificed his sleep time. And the amount he slept, and he was able to do that and be functional and work and get to a certain way, and it worked for him. But some might say towards the end of the career, maybe it was a little too much, and that's why he suffered all these injuries. That, say, LeBron, who sleeps, I think he sleeps like 10 hours a day, is now 30, almost 38, right? He has nothing, right? So
Okay, it's different.
It's different for everybody.
Yeah, okay.
How important is that recovery process?
Oh, it's like taking care of your body's
Yeah.
as important, or in my opinion, more so than any of the like the what you're doing on the court, right? Like you can maintain a certain level on the court,
Yeah.
and your body allows you to do that.
Mm.
You're going to be in a lot better shape than the person whose body's broken down. Always, like, you see the guys on
Yeah.
certain teams that, like, the injury here, da 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 da. Aside from like a freak injury, it's like, why are you always beat up? Like, what's going on with you? And I've questioned sometimes, like, man, like, you gotta take care of yourself, right? So
What's your recovery process look like? Are you like getting like massages 2 times a week or something? Or
we work with, like, we have a physiotherapist
Right.
trainer. Every team I've been on at high level anyways, you have a couple on each team that you
Yeah.
work with, plus extra massage or like needling, cupping, like
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So you work with them on a daily basis, right? Like, what do I need today? What do I need tomorrow? Oh, I'm injured here.
Yeah.
This is what I got to do for this treatment plan to get back to where I want to be, right?
Got it.
So it's a day-to-day thing.
Yeah.
Do you have any practice stories? I don't know. Like, I hate the story question because it asks people to pick a spot. But any times during practice in anywhere, even playing overseas, here locally, that like either you got into it with a couple guys, or
I've gotten in fights in practice before for sure, and then
because you guys are adults, like
yeah,
you guys are, like,
and it's a physical sport.
Physical
It's
sport, yeah.
not like you're just running papers. I mean, people in the office get in fights, and we're literally like hitting each other and like setting screens, and you get into it with guys,
Yeah.
right? You get guys get a little angry, a little aggressive with each other.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we're all men. Nobody doesn't really ever extend off the court. I've been in fights with guys in practice in the weight room, like literal fist fights.
Yeah.
Oh.
And because we're all big boys, right? I'm a
Yeah.
big guy, but there's a bunch of other big guys with me
Yeah.
too. So fortunately, I haven't been on the losing end of many of those. So, but even then, like, it's like apologize afterwards. You cool down, apologize. Hey, da 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 da. You're back to being friends. You're back to, this is our goal that we have in mind. We're not here to bicker and fight with each other. Rarely ever does it extend past like even that practice, right?
And then in terms of like practice routines, do you have something where like, oh, I gotta make this many shots, or so? Or
At the end of every practice, I always try and hit. I do 20 free throws, 25 like.
Okay.
20 free throws on each end of the court, and then that's kind of what I do to end practice off after I'm done, like my extra shooting or conditioning, etc.
Do you have any like crazy regiments that you do pre-game? Like, I know for me, like if I'm going out of a soccer game, I tie my left cleat before I'm tying my right cleat, and that's just how it is. Or like one thing also is like an hour before the game, I gotta have a banana.
Okay. No.
So I don't get any cramps or something.
No.
So it's like, do you have any like of those superstitions?
Not really, no. I know a lot of guys are like that, and they eat, like, I try and eat pasta 4.5 hours before the game, something substantial like that. 4.5, 5 hours before, and then I'll just have like a couple snacks before the game. But aside from that, like, I go out, like, I chill in the locker room, get ready, like, stretch, massage ball my feet, roll, do all that, and then I'll get out on the court about 80 minutes before tip off.
Right.
Start doing some like activation stuff out there is what's worked best for me, and then roll into like your individualized warm up with assistant coaches.
Yeah.
To wrap this up, because I don't want to keep you too.
No, you guys are fine.
No,
lots of time.
You guys just came back from the Canadian, like you guys won bronze, like
Yeah.
like on the world stage.
Yeah, they did. Those guys did great. Unfortunately, I wasn't a part of the team that played there, but I played in a lot of the qualifying games up until that point in time, and then they brought the young big guns in from the NBA, and they did great. Yeah, third. It's the first time Canada's ever medaled at a World Cup. Just a phenomenal job that the guys did.
And then you play on the Canadian team, or like, so you said you were part of many of the qualifiers.
So there's a group of I think it's like 30 of us that we all signed a contract with Team Canada to be available throughout the qualifiers, the World Cup, pre-Olympic qualifying tournaments, the AmeriCup I played in last year, which is North and South America, best team out of that. We finished fourth in that. We played the U.S. in the bronze medal game too, but we lost. We got them in the World Cup though. But yeah, there's a group of 30 of us, and we committed to play up until past the Paris Olympics.
Okay.
So out of that pool of 30 guys, they select based upon who's the best available at any given time. Like NBA guys during season obviously can't play in some of these tournaments, but during the summer when the World Cup was, they were available to play, and so they brought the best roster that they thought the Team Canada coaching staff and management thought was they could field for this tournament.
Yeah.
And that was the one they brought to the World Cup, and obviously did really well, so it was awesome.
I mean, with the professional world and being a professional athlete, there's also that lifestyle that comes
Yeah.
about it. What's that lifestyle like for you? Like, are you laid back, more of a family type of guy, or are you?
I'm a big family guy,
Yeah.
but I love hanging out with friends, going out, seeing different things, a couple drinks here and
Yeah.
there. But yeah, it's just like everything. You got to keep it balanced, right?
Balance,
It's
yeah.
exciting, it's fun, like, and especially me being 6'11", like I get noticed a lot, but
Right.
at the same point in time, like I walk around like I'm like 5'8", like in terms of my mentality towards, I'm just like I'm just here, just doing my thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not like out here to be like seen and like
Right.
people like, oh hey, what's up? I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, what's going on? How you doing?
What are your summer goals in terms of basketball, right? You've been playing for a very, very long time, and I'm sure those goals have changed over time.
Yeah, like next year will be my, I guess this is 2013, 24. Yeah, this will be my 10th year pro coming up right now.
Wow.
So been fortunate enough to have a career that long. I know there's not many of us that have lasted that long at the pro level. But it's exciting, right? And I want to play, obviously, now there's a team in Winnipeg as long as I'm able to play here, and not just play, but like excel and do
Excel,
well and
yeah.
contribute, right? I don't want to be as cool as it was the guy in Miami. You know what I'm talking about. But he was 42 when he retired or whatever, and it was
Who's on Miami? Oh, Dwayne Wade?
no,
Basketball there?
yeah, basketball. He just retired.
Vince Carter? No, he's not from.
Oh man,
But behind the scenes team, please look that
yeah,
up for me.
yeah. What's his name?
We could do a quick Hey Siri.
But yeah, like he played 7 games in
Yeah.
the last 2 years or something like that. And I want to go out and like not on top. Like I'll take my role as this is bench player coming off the bench now that I'm a little older, but I want to go out relatively on top and like, hey, like I got another 4 or 5 years. I can give them the best I can, and we'll go from there.
Damn.
Did you guys find it? Any name?
Is it Udonis?
Yeah, Udonis Haslem. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like, it's hard not to compare yourself to these guys, I assume, right? Or
I mean, I compare myself to like NBA players playing throughout my career, right?
Mhm.
Like even today, I mean, in my mind, and I'll say it, I'm as good as a lot of the guys in the NBA that at the rebounding level, at some of what they do, setting screens, this and that, but they're just more consistent in other aspects of their game than maybe I am, and maybe it's something that I need to work on, and maybe it's something that's just out of my control, right? And for whatever reason, they're there, I'm not. So you always try and strive there. I know I'm probably past that point just based upon my age. NBA's usually don't take many guys past their late 20s, right?
yeah,
Unless they're like the LeBrons, the
Yeah.
Wades, the Kobes that have established themselves, or Haslam, like these guys that have
Yeah.
been playing for so long, and connections. You know who you are, you know what you're gonna get. Your teams are happy with that, right? So my goal is, yeah, keep playing at as high of a level as I can for as long as I can, and just keep it rolling, right?
Like we always. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say like, yeah, like being on the pro level, right? A lot of guys like play basketball, like I told you before, like I played basketball, and I play for fun, you know, in intramurals and just like whenever you get a chance to shoot the ball around. But being a pro is a different level.
I mean, that's still fun. I do that all the time. I just
Yeah.
go around messing around in the gym, just get shots up, just have fun like that too, right?
So like on the times when you're not like in a season or you're not
Mhm.
in training camp, what does your day look like then? Like how often are you practicing?
I usually will go in the gym. Like right now, it's kind of like I took like 3-4 weeks off. I'm
Mhm.
just gonna start next week actually, like full bore,
Yeah.
like 5 days a week, 5 on court and 5 or 6 weight room sessions. But like even right now, I get on the court probably twice a week, for an hour or two, but I'm in the gym every day doing or not every day, 5 days a week at least, doing plyometrics, or I do yoga in the mornings and at night before I go to bed, just like a little 10-20 minute session.
Cool.
But that's helped to keep me like ready, and just like you never know when a call's gonna happen. You never know when you're gonna be ready for like I could tell my agent next week, hey, I told him start looking for some more teams and stuff.
Yeah.
And he could come back with something and be like, hey, they want you, it's Tuesday, they want you there Thursday. Like that's how fast it can happen, right?
And then you have to get there.
No, they'll
Like,
fly you.
oh,
They
but like
pick-
but it's right away. So then you have to keep your body in
Yeah,
shape.
exactly.
Yeah.
You can never get too out of shape. Like once you got to stay relevant, right? You can't, okay, well that turned it down. Okay, maybe they tell the next team, oh, he wasn't ready. He couldn't make it. He was, what are they going to think? Why couldn't you make it? Well, probably not in shape. And it's telling them that though is better than showing up and not being in shape and not performing, and then you get sent home, contracts void, and then the other teams see this, they're like, what is this guy doing? He's supposed to be a pro, right? So you gotta stay relevant, you gotta stay at a certain level, and you gotta maintain that level as best you can, right?
Are you also watching basketball as well, or do you just play?
I actually don't watch a ton of basketball. Like I study players and I study film and like different aspects of the game.
Yeah.
On my own time and like with coaches. But in terms of basketball, I really, especially the NBA, and like I really don't like watching unless it's playoffs. I don't know. It's just because it's 82 games, man, right? Like as much as you say these guys, right, are like you can't maintain playoff level mentality for 82. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Like these guys wouldn't be playing, right? You'd have a lot more load management control like that. But like our own league, like the CBL, I watch almost a lot of those games. Any games that are on any night, just because it's like these are the guys you're playing. These are the guys that are at your level right now. And how do you be better than these guys? What can you do? What can give you an edge, right?
But you probably see the game a lot differently than the regular
Than just like a fan.
Just like a fan.
I mean, it's because it's like anything, right? We've broken it down, done it and everything. It's like somebody who's at a gun range, right? I just went to a gun range a couple weeks ago. It's like the person there that is at the range with the guns and the pistols, they're breaking it down. They know every mechanism of the gun, the bullet, this, that. And it's like, oh, this shot like this. And meanwhile, I'm just out there just going, I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like, it's a lot different for them than it is for me. They're seeing it as like the business side, the management side of the firearm and everything. So same thing.
You ever get like annoyed when you're watching the games with your boy and they're like clapping about something else where you're like, yo, that wasn't even that good. Like
all the time, yeah. I don't try and like come on. I'm just like whatever. I keep everyone happy. I'm a pretty chill person, right? Like I like vibing. I don't like causing too much. Like I was like, oh, you're happy, cool, man. Enjoy it, have fun.
My uncle's like that. We'll watch like NCAA or something, and then he'll be like, "Shoot the ball!" And I'm like, "I can't hear you."
I'm the worst like that. Like watching like a horror movie or something. I'm just like, why are you doing this? Is actually making me mad. Like, what are they doing over there? Like,
it's like I could have done that.
Yes,
like, while you're in there.
Don't walk into the dark room.
Like. That makes me way more mad than with basketball, because basketball I see the fun and enjoyment of it versus like something like that. I'm just like, this is stupid. It gets me physically angry. You know?
Outside of basketball, what else consumes your life on a regular basis?
Just a lot of family stuff, friends. I work a couple businesses with other people.
You have your MBA, right?
Yeah, I have an MBA, Master's Business Administration. Got a science degree, and I guess you could say they call it a university studies degree in the U.S., but it's arts degree, I guess. So do that. Been various business things. Work with a friend of mine. He's got a security solutions company, so like cameras, stuff like that, access control. So I refer clients to him and basically just bring in people for that business. And I do similar things with another couple of companies and stuff like that. He's kind of using my connections and the people I've met throughout the years, mostly through basketball and stuff like that. Just bring people together, sort of thing.
Wow, I knew you had an MBA, but I didn't know that you were involved in the business. Well, why the business world?
Because honestly, the older I've got, like when I was younger, I was just heavily involved in playing video games like Call of Duty, Fortnite, like all that stuff when I was away playing with teams for 6, 7, 8, 9 months, wherever. And then as you get older, you're like, I gotta be doing something more than that. There's all this free time, man. Because
Yeah.
like, realistically, basketball consumes and working out, etc. is about, I don't know, 5 to 6 hours a day on a non-game day, 10 to 12 on a game day. But you got a lot of free time and off time, and now with the world we live in and the interconnectivity of everything, it's like if you have a laptop and internet, you can do anything from anywhere, right? Yeah. So it's something that over the past few years I've kind of like started doing that, just build more wealth, build more stuff for what I'm gonna do when I'm done playing, say, right? You don't have to be done playing and be like, oh shit, right? Like so started to do that and build up my my brand and like what I do personally on the side.
Do you ever feel guilty for taking like days off? You know,
Oh, all the time, man. Like some days I'll wake up and I'll be like, oh, I was gonna work out at 9 and then sleep until like 11 or 12, and then by the time I'm ready to go and it's 1, and I'm like, oh man, why did I not do that? I should have. But then I'll be like, then I'll go do it, and I'll be like, oh, well, you know, I don't really have a schedule, so I'm like, yeah, sure. Especially these last few weeks off season-ish thing, I'm like, been a little lazy, but at the same point in time, I get my workouts done, but the timeline of them has been a little more sporadic and a little more leeway.
Yeah.
But you know you're going.
But I do feel guilty.
Yeah.
Is there anything today that we haven't touched on that, you know, once you walk out of here and you're like, yeah, I wish those boys asked me that. Is there anything?
No, I'm not sure. Not too much. No, I'm just really happy to be here. Really appreciate you guys. Really excited that there's a team in Winnipeg, especially for the younger generation of kids, right? Growing up and like now, and like you have all these programs everywhere, but you can see professional basketball guys that have played in the NBA or now playing at the Canada Life Center here in Winnipeg. So just kind of
it's like a dream come true for the kids, right?
For the kids, not only for me being able to play at this level and at this stage here, basically like the CFL is for to the NFL, right? And the CBL is to the NBA. It's really cool, right?
Yeah.
So just that those kids can see that and have that opportunity to come out, watch games, and you put your hands in like your face and like you're in the environment and you're like, hey, like this is something that a local person from Winnipeg has done and is doing. Maybe it makes a realistic connection for some of these kids that they might not have thought that they ever had the opportunity to do. So that's really important to me too, and just reaching out, working like camps, talking to the youth, like wherever I can, right? I'm open to anything, any business inquiries, or just stuff like this, right? Like I just love sharing it and helping out where I can.
That's awesome. For any kid out there that wants to pursue basketball, is like maybe in middle school or high school or even in university, who's like, you know, maybe I do enjoy this game of basketball and I want to take it to the next level. What is something that you wish you had known before you got into it?
That I wish I had known before. Just enjoy every minute of it, man. Like you sometimes, like I said, you focus on this and then the next and the next and the next. You got to be the thing you are focused on and doing. You got to enjoy it and you got to be a part of it and be present and like enjoy what you're like, feel it. Because it goes quick, man. It goes quick. I'll tell you that much.
Any advice?
Life goes by quick.
Any advice you can give to the kids out there?
Just keep work on your free throws. Free throws will win you a lot of games and will take you far. And just be happy with where you are, right? Be happy, but be looking to get better, right? Don't ever think you're not good enough or you're unable to make something. Just be present, be happy, and strive for the next thing, but just cherish every moment of it. Yeah.
All right. On that note, I think that's the perfect way to end off the podcast. If you haven't already, make sure to check out Chad. We'll tag everything in the description below. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, peace.
Let's go.
There we go.
Now, that was good.
That's a wrap.